بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته كسر هذا برنامج كي تي في أنا معلم والبا ما هبي والبا ساعدنا وكله هو ذا كل متشرني إن سيدانو هربا يدين قبل لنقادني برنامج كذا ويجا قصص عده هدي لهيدا وحين نقولنا نقار أو تحس بدن أو قيب وين كل سندين أو أخبار الشذا ما دام إنه نهيد الوضع كان دقن مقالة سيال واشنطن دقن وحين إنه هيبلدت كن إنه وحكب بدلنا أركتدا إسكولات كبابليك سكول كأنه تجنا يوالد كي أرددي معلمين سيدي أنه سجوا حرلين تانا وحقيب وين كقاتي سومالي تي في أو دوني هراء إنه يصير أرنتاas ay tahay waxa weyn ay isbedel ku keenay faamiliyadena ama wadankeena ama dalkeena inaynu deganay waa America intaba haddaba barnaamijkan maanta waxaan ugu talagalnay wareysi aan la yeelan doono waxbarashada siyaal public schoolka iyo bal sidii waalidku isbedel ugu sameyn lahaa aragtidooda marka ay arkaan ama interviewgan ay maqlaan taasoo ah sida aynu isugu xidhnayn aynu wada ognay wadankani waa triangle buu shaqeeyaa waxbarashada marka la yiraahdo waalidka macallimiinta iyo ardayda inay wada shaqeeyaan sidaan ognay hadda koorna aanu halkan ka niri waxaad moodaa wadankeeni waxbarashadiisu way ka duwaneed wadankeeni markaan leeyahay Soomaaliya ka wada intii waaweynaanta ku xasuusata ama intii iskuul ku tagtay intaba waxa la oran jiray nafta Ilaahay baa iska leh jirkana waalidka iska leh waa jirka bini aadamka qofka fiid gareynaya maskaxdana macalinka iska leh for that reason laguma tagi jirin maskaxda macalinkaas ilmaha wax gelinayo laakiin halkan way isbedeshay baa la risaasina ma shaqeynayso marka fadlan hadii aad daawanayso barnaamijkan maanta waa aad buu ugu saabsan yahay waxbarashada caruurtaada marka waxaan jecelahay hadii cid kale oo familiguna inay kula daawato hadii aad chance u hesho ama aad reach gareyn karto dad kale oo neighborkaaga saaxiibada ehliyadaada inaad ku tiraa barnaamijkan hal laga faa'iideysto si fiican buu soo galay bal waxaan jecelahay hadaba interviewgan Hana oo noo sameysay waa tana ku soo dhawaana
السلام عليكم مصطفى ودكم هاتسنتهاي سيدا مصطفى إني شاقي قبل كادلين Veronica Gallardo يانا لشوكتا وحي كمتهاي سكول كان in Seattle School District أو إنه ورمي سامانتا أرضي ذا الصومالي ذا وحيالها هايستا يدك فاميليا ذي والد كسوغا say involved أنه كران and so welcome Veronica
Thank you.
and can you please introduce yourself again and then just tell us where what your position is in this in the
Okay,
department.
certainly. My name is Veronica Gallardo. I am the Director for Bilingual Education here in Seattle Public Schools and International Programs. I serve over 6,000 ELL students here in the Seattle Public School District. I am a former teacher, a former principal, and now the Director for ELL.
My first question is involving Somali families and into the school and trying to get them to be more involved in the kids' life, in their kids' lives. So what would you suggest, what have you seen is the problem first, and then what that involvement in Somali, with parents, Somali parents?
Sure. So it's always very important to have our families, all our families involved in our students' education, their own children's education. And one of the biggest issues or concerns that we see is that because our families work so many jobs and are often working many hours, it's hard for the families to oversee and assure that the children are reading at home, doing their homework at home, and getting the necessary support for education at the home life. Because we teach the children at school, but it's equally important to have the children continue the education at home through reading, through conversations, making sure that the children continue speaking in their native language. We encourage that and we applaud it when our families are able to do that.
Thank you. And so there's this issue that a lot of kids complain that their parents, Somali kids complain that their parents do not come to the parent-teacher conferences. Mm-hmm. And we were just wondering how to encourage the parents to come around and what can be done to help them with their, some of them might not be able to understand English, so how can the district help them overcome that problem or issue?
So that experience is very near and dear to my heart because I am a child of a migrant family, which is from Mexican descent, and my parents weren't able to come to the school's conferences and that kind of thing. So it's when other children's families do come, it makes it complicated and hard for the children. We always encourage our families to come to the schools for parent conferences. We have done much better. Our Somali parents are coming to the conferences more often, but we still need a lot more support. So we encourage you to come. And how we do that is that we provide translators and interpreters who speak Somali at the parent conferences. So when you schedule a parent conference, we will make sure that we have an interpreter and a translator there who speaks your language because it's so very important that you come to the school to these parent conferences to learn how your child is doing and how they're progressing.
So sida imika Veronica inoo sheegtay waalidka meelo badan ay laga caawin karaa jira iyo siyaabo badan ay u caawin karaan carruurtooda marka waxaan rabnaa inay isticmaalaan meelaha u furan so waalidka badanka Soomaali ahaan waxaan u baranay inay waalid marka iskuulka ilmuhu ka baxo teacherka uu yaa ka muqaabilka ah wax walba guriga ka baxsan macalinka wuxuu barayo iyo guriga iskuma baxidnayn so markuu wiil ilmuhu ka baxo guriga ka tago waxa ka charge ka ahaa ilaalinayay macalinkiisa xaafadda markuu soo laabtana adiga waalidka ahaa so waxaan weligiiba hooyada waxaan oran jirtay macalinka waa waalidkaaga waxba kama sheegi kartid waxba kuma oran kartid waa inaad dhageysatid laakiin Mareykanku sida u shaqeysay waxa weeyaan caruurtii iyo waalidkii iyo macallimiintii bay soo wada shaqeeyaan so ilmuhu marka dhinac walba si looga caawiyo wuxuu u baahan yahay in waalidku markuu xaafadda yimaado la caawiyo say iyadu sheegtay ilmihii markuu guriga joogana lagu yiraahdo homework-kaaga ka shaqeey markaad iskuulka joogana macallimadu waxay siisay wax barto inay waalidkii macallimiintuna isla kulmaan ay ka shaqeeyaan waxa so another issue in our community is that there's always been a triangular type of education where traditionally in Somali communities as soon as the child leaves the home it's the parent's not really involved. The parent's not involved in the educational life of the child. So as soon as the teacher is responsible for all that. So then when he comes to the house, then the kid does the chores and whatever is at home teaching, then the parent takes care of that, like teaching them how to cook and clean and take care of their bills and stuff like that. So this bridge of having the parent be involved and the child be involved in the education as well as the teachers is something that is new to many people and a lot of parents who do not speak the language are having a hard time trying to understand the system and be a part of the system. So you told us and there's an opportunity that parents could be involved in that, so can you explain that a little bit more?
So here in the United States, one of our big values is making sure that the parents are involved in the education of the child. In many other cultures, such as my own in Mexico, the teacher is the one who is solely responsible for the education. But here in the United States, it's very different, and it's important for families to know that it's a relationship, a symbiotic relationship. We need to have our parents involved in this child's education as much as the teacher's involved. The teacher's the expert, yes, but equally important is the parent's knowledge of the native language, of making sure that the child is at home reading every night for at least 20 minutes, and making sure that the parent is having those conversations and checking in with the teachers, because it's the teacher's job to keep you informed on how your child is doing, but it's equally important that you are informed and you seek teachers and ask how your child is doing as well. So we can't do this work alone, and here in the United States, we really, really value our parent input on your child. So we ask you wholeheartedly to make sure that you are having conversations, you are being a parent who is reading to your child, who is making sure that they're doing homework. You're even at the dinner table asking your child, how's school today? And if the child just says, okay, not good enough. You need to talk to your child and ask for specific information. What did you do in math today? What book did you read today? So little questions like that are so important.
Some parents cannot read, and a lot of parents feel when they are unable to understand what their kids are learning, or it seems too advanced for what they've learned in school. A lot of parents kind of feel helpless in being able to take part in this, even if they agree that reading is important and that they do want to monitor their kids' homework and make sure that the kids doing what they're doing. They have to sort of trust the child, and whatever the child tells them is the truth, because they don't have venues of making sure that it's true. Like what you did in math, they're going to say whatever they did in math, and if they lie about it or if they didn't go to school, it's hard for parents who are not very involved or don't have the connection with the teachers at least to make sure to check on it. So what ways can the Seattle School District or just any school, any library, any of those resources help the parent become more, make sure of it, more validate what the kids is saying, what the kids are saying?
So in Seattle Public Schools, one of the things that we've done to support our families and our children who speak a different language other than English is to hire instructional assistants. And since Somali is our top second language in Seattle Public Schools, that's a very large population of just over 1,000 students. So we've hired instructional assistants who speak the native language of the children. And those instructional assistants are what we call our lifeline. So they are there to support you. So if you have questions about homework from your children, or if you just want to check in, I would recommend that you contact your Somali instructional assistant who can speak to you in your native language and answer the questions you have regarding your child's homework, reading, anything that you have as far as a question related to education, they are able to help you. I would also encourage you to not only read to your child, but oral stories are equally important. And we know that for Native Americans in particularly, oral history is incredibly valuable. So if you're able just to tell stories out loud to your child, that's equally important because they always have a beginning, a middle, and an end. And students and children are able to follow that. We also ask that maybe you just sit by your child, right next to your child, to read to, and have the child read to you. That is very, very important, especially when they're learning English. And then always know that there are all our public libraries are out there where they have story times. So you could go with your child to the library and they can sit there and listen to a story and have it read to them. Or you can just look through books together, always starting from the beginning of the book to the end of the book and just talking about the pictures as well. So there are many things that a lot of our families can do even if they are not able to read to themselves.
So you mentioned teachers having instructional assistants to help them out with kids that speak different languages. How can the parent get in touch with the instructional tutor?
So one of the things that parents would need to do is to contact their school directly, ask the secretary for the instructional assistant who speaks Somali, and they'll give them the phone number directly. Usually before school, which is 8:30 to 9, or 3 to 3:30 is the best time to speak to our Somali or any instructional assistant, because those are the times that they're specifically supposed to be working with our communities and our parents and receiving phone calls. Another wonderful resource is the World School, which is formerly known as the SBOC. This is a newcomer school that is now also becoming a high school, and we have a bilingual family center there called the World Bilingual Family Center. We have our top 5 languages there: Vietnamese, Spanish, Somali, Amharic, Tigrinya, speakers who are available to support our families in just navigating any kind of school question that they have, enrollment if you want to enroll your child. And please know that the enrollment deadline this year is only 2 weeks long. From February 27th through March 9th, those are the 2-week windows where you need to come into John Stanford here or the World School to register your child for kindergarten, first grade, or if your child is new to Seattle Public Schools.
So World School ka imika inoo sheegtay waxa weeyaan school ardayda markay ardayda magaalada ku cusub ee ka timiday meel aanan Mareykanka ahayn yaa loogu talagalay. So marka afaf badan bay haystaan, afafkay tirisay kamid ah Soomaali iyo Amharic iyo waxaas. Marka waxay rabaan inay ardayda caawiyaan iyo waalidkaba labadaba la isku xidho. Afkana marka la barayo ay waalidkuna kamid noqdaan af bartaala caruurta la barayo waalidkana la caawin karo. So waxay haystaan meel family-ga lagu caawiyo gooni ahaanta oo ardaydana ka baxsan. So qofkii waalidkii u baahan inuu barto inuu afkii baranayo afka ku cusub iyaguna laakiin ilmihiisana rabada inuu make sure inay wixii loogu talagalay sameeyaan inuu meeshan tagay yaa aad fiican. SPOC baa la dhahaa. Waan ku qoraynaa address-kana hoos ku soo qoran yahay. So marka iskuulaadka macallimiinta weydiiya ardayda waalidkaaga inay carruurtaada uba garanayaan baa laga yaabaa carruurtaadana weydiiya. Badankan waxaan rabnay inaan u sheegno ardayda walaalo leh inay walaalaha ka yaryar caawiyaan. Badanka carruurta waaweyn baa iskuulkii busy bay ku noqdaan, iyaguna shaqadoodii bay samaystaan oo xagaas iyaguna ku jeestaan. Laakiin carruurta waxay u baahan yihiin kuwa yaryar inay iyagana la caawiyo. Haddii waalidkaagu caawin karayn ama waalidkaaguna u joogi karayn mar walba adna inaad la caawisid waalidka sida waalid kale aad u noqotid pretty much, because badankan carruurta adaa fahmaya more than waalidkaagu fahmayo. Veronica, thank you so much. And I know that you've been involved in a lot of Somali community organizations, events that are going on in the Seattle area. And I just wanted to know any last advice, any suggestions you would have for the Somali families and in general the whole community.
Sure. I think the best advice I can give as a mother, as a former teacher, principal, and now director is to make sure your children are showing up to school on time. They're coming to school every day. That your parents are building relationships with the teachers and the school. Make sure you ask questions. Please don't be afraid to ask questions. It's our job to make sure you're informed. So making sure parents are engaged is vital. But again, attendance, making sure your children are reading 20 minutes a night at least, and making sure that they're coming to school on a regular basis is vital, and will definitely help us together raise your children so that they graduate and go on to high school and college and other careers.
Well, thank you, and we hope that we can see you again and then ask more questions, and hopefully our viewers would want to know more about this information.
Great.
And would contact you soon. Thank you so much.
And thank you again to all of you in the Som-TV for this opportunity. I am so appreciative of having the moment to reach out to our families and our children And again, this work can't be done alone. We need your help, and I thank you so much.